Most people think aging is just about slowing down, losing a little energy, forgetting where you left your keys, needing a little more rest than you used to. They think it's natural, inevitable, harmless. But the truth is, there are silent forces working against women over 60. Not loud, dramatic illnesses that everyone sees coming. No, these are quiet destroyers. They creep in softly, undetected, dressed in everyday habits, dismissed as just getting older. And the worst part? Most of them don't show up on a blood test. They don't scream through symptoms. They whisper, until one day they've taken more than time, they've taken life. Today, I want to tell you about 5 of those killers. Deadly, overlooked, and devastating. Some are emotional, some are physical. All of them are real. And if you're a woman over 60 or you love one, you need to hear this. I've seen what happens when these dangers go unnoticed. I watched someone I love disappear slowly, piece by piece. Not all at once, but gradually, quietly, until it was too late to turn it around. So stay with me, all the way through, because the last one I'll talk about, the 5th, it's the one that haunts me the most. It's the one that took her. And it's the one no one warned us about. You deserve to know. Let's begin. #1.loneliness, the hidden disease. Have you ever felt that quiet ache in your chest, not from illness, but from absence? That stillness in the house that grows louder with every passing day? You don't need anyone to tell you what loneliness feels like. It's not just being alone. It's feeling forgotten. It's walking into a room and realizing no one would have noticed if you hadn't. Let's talk about it, really talk about it, because loneliness isn't just uncomfortable. It's dangerous. Did you know that loneliness is as harmful to your body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? I'm not exaggerating. That's not some made-up internet fact. It came straight from a study published by Brigham Young University. And it's not the only one. Researchers all over the world, Harvard, the CDC, even the World Health Organization, are warning that social isolation is quietly fueling heart disease, dementia, depression, and early death. Not decades from now. Right now. Quietly. In people's living rooms. In empty kitchens. In nursing homes. In the apartments where curtains are never drawn because no one's coming to visit anyway. And here's the part no one likes to say out loud: loneliness doesn't only strike the people you think it would. It hits the strong ones. The independent ones. The women who spent their lives giving and now suddenly don't know who they are when there's no one left to take care of. When the job ends. When the kids stop calling. When the partner passes. When the noise disappears. Let me tell you about Linda. She was 72 when she retired. Vibrant. Still sharp. Always the type to keep herself busy. But she hadn't planned for the silence. First, it was nice. Sleeping in. Reading a little more. Watching her favorite shows. But days started to blur. Calls from friends grew less frequent. Her calendar emptied. And one afternoon, she told me she'd gone 4 days without speaking to another human being. For days. No phone calls. No neighbors. No contact. She laughed when she said it. But her eyes didn't. That's when it starts. Slowly, the world grows smaller. You start second-guessing your value. You question your purpose. And before long, your body starts feeling it too. She began forgetting things. Lost her appetite. Her energy dipped. Doctors ran tests, but everything looked fine. Still, she wasn't. Because loneliness doesn't show up in blood work. It shows up in your spirit. In the way you stop reaching out. In how you sit in a chair longer than you meant to. In the days that pass without laughter. And it's not your fault. You were never taught how to rebuild connection at this stage of life. No one told you that you'd have to reintroduce yourself to the world at 70. That you'd have to start over. Find new friends. Create a new identity. That's terrifying. But it's not impossible. You're not invisible. I see you. And more importantly, there are people who need you, even if they don't know it yet. So here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow. Today. Reach out to someone. One person. A niece, a neighbor, someone from church, the woman who lives down the hall. It doesn't have to be big. Just a hello, a message, a question. How are you doing today? That's all it takes. Loneliness doesn't leave on its own. You have to show it the door. And if that feels scary, I get it. But the cost of staying silent is too high. You deserve joy. You deserve company. You deserve to feel alive. We're just getting started. The next danger? It's one your body's been warning you about for years, but you've probably been told to ignore it. Let's talk about it. #2. Chronic inflammation. Have you ever felt like your body is fighting you for no reason? You're eating the same meals, getting through the day like always, but somehow you're more tired than you used to be. Your joints ache. You feel bloated after almost every meal. And there's this fog that just won't lift. No matter how much coffee you drink, or how much you try to push through it, something just feels off. That off feeling? It might not be aging. It might be inflammation. Now, I know that word gets thrown around a lot these days. Inflammation. But let me tell you, this isn't just a trendy wellness buzzword. This is real. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside your body. And for women over 60, it's often ignored until it causes real damage. Damage to your joints, your brain, even your heart. Let's break it down. Your body naturally creates inflammation to heal things, like cuts or infections. That's normal. That's healthy. But when inflammation sticks around too long, when it becomes chronic, it turns against you. And here's the sneaky part, it builds quietly over time. One skipped night of sleep, one sugary snack, one stressful week, then another. Sugar, processed food, fried meals, poor sleep, high stress. They all feed that fire. And over time, it doesn't just make you feel tired. It wears your body down. Arthritis flares up. Memory starts to slip. Heart disease creeps in. And we chalk it up to aging, don't we? But what if it's not aging? What if it's inflammation? And what if you could do something about it? Let me tell you about Maria. She's 68 now. A few years ago, she came to a support group I was part of, limping, exhausted, and frustrated. She was sleeping barely 4 hours a night, eating frozen meals, and had a serious sweet tooth. But what really broke her was how foggy her brain felt. "It's like I'm walking through water," she said. Then she got curious. She didn't jump into a fad diet. She just made small changes. Swapped out white bread for whole grains. Cut back on soda. Started drinking water, real water. She added greens, berries, and a little turmeric to her meals. And she gave herself a real bedtime. No phone in bed, no falling asleep to the TV. Within weeks, she felt different. Her energy started coming back. The swelling in her knees went down. And her mind? Clearer than it had been in years. Inflammation isn't a mystery. Your body tells you when it's happening. You feel puffy, heavy, sore. Your stomach reacts. Your skin changes. Your mind slows. These aren't things to ignore. They're signs. Your body is asking for help. So ask yourself, what have you been feeding your body lately? How have you been sleeping? Are you moving enough? Are you calming your nervous system or constantly in stress mode? There's no perfect formula, no magic pill, but there are choices, and every little change matters. A bowl of blueberries instead of a donut. A 10-minute walk after dinner. Saying no when you're tired instead of pushing yourself to please everyone else. Inflammation isn't just physical, it's emotional too. Resentment, chronic stress, unresolved anger, they all fuel the fire. So maybe healing your body means healing more than just your plate. And if you're sitting there thinking, it's too late for me, I want you to hear this. It's not. The human body is incredibly forgiving. It wants to heal. You just have to give it the chance. We've talked about the fire inside. But what happens when that fire is met with confusion, when medications start piling up, interacting, and creating problems you never saw coming? That's what we'll uncover next. You don't want to miss it. #3. Medication mismanagement. Let me ask you something. Do you know every single medication you're taking, what it's for, how it interacts with the others, and what the side effects are? If you just hesitated even for a second, you're not alone. Most older women I've spoken to are on at least 4 or 5 prescriptions by the time they hit their mid-60s. Some take more than 10. Blood pressure meds, painkillers, sleeping aids, cholesterol pills, anxiety meds, diabetes treatments. The list builds slowly over the years. One pill for this, another to counteract the side effects of that, and before you know it, your medicine cabinet looks like a pharmacy. But here's the problem, those medications? They don't always get along. In fact, many of them quietly clash behind the scenes, canceling each other out, or worse, creating new problems. Joan found that out the hard way. She was 74, sharp, active, loved gardening, played bridge every week, still drove herself to her appointments. But then she started falling. Not tripping, just collapsing. Out of nowhere. Dizzy spells. Short-term memory slips. She chalked it up to age at first. Her kids worried maybe it was the beginning of dementia. But one day, her daughter sat down with all of Joan's pill bottles and made a list. 8 medications. When she took that list to a pharmacist and asked for a review, they found something shocking. 2 of the medications were actively canceling each other out. Worse still, one of them was making her blood pressure drop just enough to trigger those fainting spells. No one had connected the dots because every doctor she saw only looked at their piece of the puzzle. This is what we call polypharmacy. It's more common than you think. And it's dangerous. You see, as we age, our liver and kidneys process medications differently. What worked for you at 50 might hit your body differently at 70. And unless someone's regularly reviewing the full list of what you're taking, you could be walking around with a cocktail of confusion, drowsiness, balance problems, or even symptoms that mimic Alzheimer's, all caused by meds you were told to take. So let's be practical for a second. Here are a few red flags to watch for, especially if they started after a medication was added or changed. Sudden dizziness, memory fog or confusion, unexpected fatigue, falling or balance issues, stomach problems, mood swings. These aren't just old age. These are warning signs your body is giving you. Listen. So what can you do? First, make a complete list of everything you take. Not just prescriptions, include over-the-counter meds, supplements, vitamins, herbal remedies, sleep aids, even ointments. You'd be surprised what can interact with what. Then, bring that list to a pharmacist or a geriatric specialist, someone trained to look at the whole picture. Not just the heart or the bones or the brain, but you as a full, living, breathing, complex person. Ask the hard questions. Do I still need this? Is there a safer alternative? Are any of these doing more harm than good? Sometimes all it takes is removing or adjusting one medication to feel like yourself again. And I know it can be overwhelming, but I promise you this. Taking ownership of your health doesn't mean doing it alone. It just means asking the right questions. So tonight, when the house is quiet and you're winding down, take 5 minutes. Open that drawer or cabinet, pull out every bottle, and start writing things down. One by one. No judgment. Just information. Because the truth is, knowledge is power. And at this stage in your life, you've earned the right to know exactly what's going into your body and why. Next up, we're going to talk about something a little more emotional. It's one of the most overlooked killers of all, and it affects nearly every woman I've met over 60. But most don't see it coming until it's already taken hold. Let's go there together. #4. Lack of purpose. Have you ever woken up, sat at the edge of the bed, and thought, what now? No alarms. No schedule. No kids needing rides. No emails to answer. Just silence. You used to dream of this kind of freedom. And now that it's here, it feels heavy, doesn't it? The days blur together. There's nothing wrong, but somehow it doesn't feel right either. That feeling has a name. It's not depression. It's not laziness. It's a lack of purpose. And let me tell you something powerful. Purpose is not just some fluffy idea we talk about in self-help books. It is directly tied to how long you live. In fact, multiple studies have found that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer, healthier lives. Purpose protects the heart, sharpens the mind, lowers stress. It literally adds years to your life. So when that sense of purpose disappears, when you retire, when the kids leave, when your role as caretaker fades, it creates a quiet, invisible void. And that void, It's dangerous. Think about it. For decades, many women were defined by what they did for others. Mother, wife, teacher, nurse, volunteer, caregiver. Those roles were full of motion, noise, responsibility. You didn't even have time to think about your purpose because you were living it. And then it stopped. The job ended. The house emptied. And no one told you how to rebuild a life around yourself. Let me share Martha's story. She was 74, widowed, retired, and living in a house that used to be full. She told me she used to sit in her armchair and wonder if she'd already lived all the best parts of her life. Her spark had dimmed. She thought about her husband, her kids, her years working in the school system, and felt like she had nothing left to offer. Then one day, purely by chance, she visited a local animal shelter with her neighbor, just for the company. While she was there, she held a sick kitten that no one else had time for. The staff noticed how calm the kitten became in her lap. They asked if she'd ever considered volunteering. She laughed. Me? At my age? But she went back. Once a week, then twice. Then she was showing new volunteers the ropes, organizing donation drives, helping with paperwork. She told me she hadn't felt so alive in 10 years. Her body still ached sometimes, but her soul was lit up. She said, "For the first time since my husband died, I feel like I'm me again." That's what purpose does. It reminds you that you are still here, still needed, still important. And here's the truth that no one tells you. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. You don't need to start a business or travel the world. It can be small, quiet, personal. Purpose can be writing letters to your grandchildren, helping your neighbor with her garden, starting a book club, taking care of a stray cat, learning a new language, telling your story. So here's something for you. Take a deep breath. Grab a notebook or open a fresh page on your phone and answer these questions honestly. What made me feel most alive when I was younger? What have I always wanted to try but talked myself out of? Who could benefit from my experience, my care, or just my time? What makes me lose track of time? If I could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? You don't have to have all the answers today. Just start asking the questions. The answers will come. #5.unprocessed grief and trauma. Have you ever carried something in your heart for so long, you forgot what it was like to feel light? Maybe it was a loss that shattered you. Partner, a child, a friend. Maybe it was a betrayal, a silence, a chapter that never got the closure it deserved. You got up the next day. You made coffee. You smiled when you needed to. But deep down, a part of you never came back. That, my friend, is unprocessed grief. And it doesn't just live in your memories. It lives in your body. Doctors are only now beginning to fully understand what so many of us have felt for decades. When you hold pain in, it finds a place to stay. It tightens your chest. It settles in your stomach. It weighs on your back. And over time, it weakens your immune system, raises your blood pressure, disrupts your sleep, your hormones, even your heart rhythm. It's not just emotional, it becomes physical. Let me tell you about Patricia. She was 69 when I met her. A sweet woman, soft-spoken, eyes that looked like they held an ocean of stories. She had lost her husband 3 years earlier, suddenly, without warning. They'd been married over 40 years. No time to say goodbye. No preparation. Just gone. She never talked about it. Not with her children. Not with her friends. She told me she felt like if she opened that door, she'd fall apart and never be able to put herself back together again. But quietly, over those 3 years, her health started unraveling. Her energy disappeared. She caught every cold. Her blood pressure rose. She gained weight without changing her diet. Her doctors gave her medication after medication, but no one ever asked about her heart. Not the physical one, the emotional one, the one that had broken and never been held. When Patricia finally joined a local grief support group after months of resistance, she cried through the first 3 sessions. But by the 4th, she told her husband's story from beginning to end. And something shifted. Her face softened. Her sleep improved. She started walking again, smiling again. It didn't fix everything, but it started healing something deep inside. Grief is not something you get over. It's something you learn to carry with grace. But it must be acknowledged. Otherwise, it builds a wall inside you, and behind that wall, your health begins to crumble. And it's not just grief from death. It can be childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, a marriage that robbed you of your voice, a family secret that was never spoken, a lifetime of swallowing your pain just to keep the peace. But here's the truth, the body keeps the score. Your heart remembers. Your cells remember, even if your mind tries to forget. That's why healing isn't just about eating better or taking fewer medications. It's about finally saying the things you've been too afraid to say, feeling what you've buried for decades, giving yourself permission to break, cry, rage, and release. Right now, if you're willing, I want to invite you to take just 2 minutes with me. No pressure. Just sit back. Breathe in gently through your nose. Hold it, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Soften your jaw. Close your eyes if you can. And in the quiet, ask yourself one simple question. What pain have I been carrying alone? And now that we've walked through the 5 hidden dangers, loneliness, inflammation, medication overload, lack of purpose, and unprocessed grief, let's take a moment to bring it all together. Because knowing is only the first step. The next step is reclaiming your life. Let's talk about that. Which one of the 5 hit home for you? Leave a comment below. I read every one. And don't forget to subscribe.